Every January, hundreds of YouTubers get brutally murdered by YouTube's system. They realize that it is too risky of a business, and they quit. And they all die. I am exaggerating, of course, but January is the worst month if you are a YouTuber. And not even by a little, but by a lot. But why? Let me answer that for you. I'm Lockstin, and welcome to my universe. Firstly, real quick, if you live in California, I am going to the Sacramento Gamers Expo in Sacramento on December 11th. Link in the description. Arlo's going too. I hope to see you there. There are so many legal gray areas and legal contract terms of service stuff that I always hear other YouTubers mentioning involving that they aren't allowed to publicly state directly how much money they make. So I can't use me as an example, but once I found out if all this contract terms of service stuff is true or not, I'll make a video about money making on YouTube using me as an example. So anyway, let's use Dylan here as an example. Dylan has worked hard and now has around 90,000 subscribers, and he gets a little under 1 million views per month overall. Because of this, he makes around $1,000 per month. It's not enough to pay all the bills, but every bit helps. But then January rolls around, and he's getting the same views, the same runtime, the same everything. Everything is exactly the same as it's always been, except for the pay. Instead of getting $1,000 like he has the 9 months prior, he only gets $300 this month. And considering that he needed the YouTube money to pay some of his bills so he could just have a part-time job, he now realizes that YouTube is too big of a risk, and he goes back into working a traditional full-time job, and thus doesn't make any or as many YouTube videos anymore. January killed him and his channel. Mostly his channel. He's still perfectly fine. And that's not even a huge exaggeration. Last January 2016, my channel nearly died. I had been doing full-time YouTube for only a few months at that point when January rolled around. And I've heard of this rumored January effect. You know, you always do lots of research when you take on a new job. But I figured the January effect couldn't be that bad. People are exaggerating. And then January through April, I was ending every month with a deficit. And if I didn't have the small savings that I did, I would have had to quit YouTube and spend time in a second job again. For me, my revenue dropped 70% that month. Rounding down, of course. And when on the average month you're making just a bit over what you need to pay all of your bills, including food and whatnot, a 70% drop is nightmarish. It affects every YouTuber differently. Some will only have a drop of 20 to 30%, but every YouTuber can expect a significant drop in revenue in January, and in February it only recovers a little bit. You have to wait until March to get back into the average levels again. So why does this happen, and why January of all months? Well, easy. It all has to do with advertising. There is a very clear reason why this happens, and when you start looking at ad revenue per view on a day-to-day basis, May, June, November, and December are the best months to post big videos that you know will be popular, as the payout for these 4 months is significantly larger. November and December especially, they are the best months, and that makes sense. Black Friday, Christmas shopping. All of these companies are pushing their products harder than ever in these 2 months, and are pumping more and more money into YouTube advertising, which of course gets passed to content creators. As for May and June, and also July, though not as much, summer vacation. Tons of kids and teens and young adults are out of school for almost 3 months, so they have more time to watch YouTube videos, and advertisers that want to target that demographic start pumping in more money. So in summer, ad revenue and views grow a good margin. So, the year goes by, and during the last 2 months of the year, advertising companies push out their ads harder than ever. They spend the rest of their annual advertising budget. So what happens when it's over? January hits. The 2 biggest shopping times of the year are 11 months away. Kids, teens, and young adults are just going back to school now. And advertising companies take a bit of a break to recover from the last 2 months. And they spend time figuring out what this year's advertising budget's going to be. A lot of advertisers renegotiate contracts in this time, which can take weeks. And while they are all doing that, they can't push out ads. And because there are less ads, there is less pay to YouTube, and then YouTube can't pass that along. The January effect. YouTubers only get paid for a view that has an ad play on it. And if there are no ads, or fewer views get them, you get less money. Simple. And this is also why YouTube Red is helpful, even in December. One view from someone with YouTube Red is worth significantly more than one view from someone without. But even YouTube Red doesn't compare with Patreon. Giving, say, your 5 favorite YouTubers $1 a month is more helpful than anything. Even giving your 10 favorite YouTubers 50 cents per month is more helpful than having YouTube Red, or having adblock off. And this is why Patreon and donations truly are the best way to support your favorite YouTubers. But, I understand not every YouTuber needs donations. Once you get into the multi-millions of subscribers and hundreds of millions of regular views every month, you become very, very rich, and you don't need that kind of support.
By the way, this is the part where I start begging for Patreon support, just so you know.
The kinds of videos that this channel makes, and the kind it will make a lot more of next year, are very time-consuming to make. My goal for next year is to, early on, hire 1 or 2 full-time, and that's full-time paid, editors to help me with this channel. Make it better and better. Not to mention the few part-time editors I'll have here and there, and other assistants and such. While this channel is mine, it's good to remember it's not just me making it. If it were just me, there would be 1 video every other week at most, and it wouldn't even be that great of one. In order to consistently make videos of the highly edited variety, and by the way, next year there are going to be a ton more of those, then I need help from editors, whom I can only afford to pay as long as the channel does well. And we have good Patreon support, and a decent flow of sponsors. This channel is a small business. It's my passion, but it's also a small business. I mean, next year I'm planning on moving out of California because California hates small businesses, essentially. It's going to become the next Detroit. So yeah, I'm rambling now. January and February is horrible. Being subscribed to YouTube Red fixes it, as does Patreon support. And if you ever have any questions about this kind of stuff, either because you are just curious, or you are a small YouTuber yourself, you can always ask me anything on my Twitter, @Lockstin. And until next time, stay awesome. I hope you learned something today.
Oh, you know what? I haven't checked my YouTube analytics in a while. I should look up on that.